So, tomorrow lands my Christmas story to you in Italian, in my imperfect Italian. It's a very long story that may include a dragon, but that's not specifically what today's video is about. I wanted to talk about a few things I've learnt from writing this story specifically, which are, of course, things to do with Italian grammar. Now, if you've been here for a while, you'll know that I learnt all the basics of Italian on Duolingo back when it was a tree, not a path. I started pretty much 3 years ago, on 15th of December 2020. The Italian tree was quite short compared to some of the other courses, and I finished it quite quickly. As you might expect, however, one of the problems with a short course is that Duolingo didn't labour the finer points of the language. When I was writing this story, side note, I started it in mid-August. I've been writing it for a very long time. And checking and double-checking and all that stuff, I looked up a verb and saw it had avere and essere as the auxiliary. I vaguely remembered something to do with that, but I'm sure it was never practised, so maybe I saw it somewhere other than Duolingo. I decided I'd better look it up. Side note, having looked it up, I'm sure I've got this wrong somewhere in previous stories and poems. Ah well, you live and learn. The websites talked about transitive and intransitive verbs, and that's where, to a certain extent, my brain shut down. Those terms really mean nothing to me. I had to force myself to concentrate to try to work out what was being said about the verbs, and eventually got my head around it, in non-technical terms. Basically, it's if the verb is acting on the subject, it's essere. So he changed as a person, or his son had grown. And if it's acting on the object, it's avere. So he changed his car, or she began her job. Then, of course, I got paranoid about which verbs were affected by this. None of the lists I found were exactly the same for the most common. I did search for every one of the verbs in the story. However, what this research has done is make me notice it when I see it. That isn't that frequently because most books are written in passato remoto. But non-fiction isn't, and I've noticed it in a book I just started. Plus, I've seen it in a song lyric. And then, when I was looking something else up, I discovered modal verbs can also take both auxiliaries. So, potere, dovere, and volere. So these verbs are often used with an infinitive, and if they are, you use the auxiliary verb that corresponds to the infinitive. I swear I'd never heard this before. Another panicked search through the manuscript. I haven't yet noticed this when reading, but maybe by the time this is posted, I will have. I think I found one instance of each of these where I had to change something, so maybe not too much of a pain, but I don't think I'm going to forget them anytime soon. I also hadn't ever used volerci before, but it was suggested in one of my checking phases, so I had to deep dive on that too. A pronominal verb, another term that makes my brain shut down. Anyway, it's always third person and is to be necessary or to take a length of time. Plus, of course, there were many subjunctive queries and passato prossimo or imperfetto quandaries and other odds and sods all over the place. Oh, and while I'm here, I'd just like to complain about Google changing verbs to the passato remoto, as if that's the form that foreigners are taught to use in general conversation. Annoying. If I start with something in passato prossimo, please give me your suggestion in passato prossimo. Or always. Or give me a button to change between the two, thanks. Unless, of course, it should be in perfetto. Anyway, this writing lark really is testing my Italian to the extreme, which is good. However, I probably won't be writing anything this long again anytime soon. This particular story uses a lot of phrases I found in books, plus another specific inspiration, which I'll detail at the end. I wonder if you'll be able to guess what that is. Maybe, but it is something, correction, a collection of things in Italian. So maybe not.